So let's look at a different workflow where we're utilizing the live input node for each one of our tasks. So for this shot, we need to have a key, a camera track. We're going to be putting the backplate on a card, as well as some atmosphere or effects on cards in 3D space as well. So now, if we want to get these different tasks out, what we're doing is, and prepping, and I've already prepped, is each one of the tasks. So we have key, tracking, backplate, different nuke scripts that are already set up, just with the live input and live output node, along with the correct project settings for it. So what we're going to do inside of our master script is now create a live group. We're going to go ahead and plug a live group in for each one of these different situations here. So like this. And what we want to do is reference in those, or point to those scripts that are on disk. They're blank at the moment, but we're going to be working on them. So the first thing I'm going to do is for the keying one, we're going to go ahead and point to that on disk. So we go under our key and we point to that. And then for the camera track, we're going to do the same thing for the tracks. And then we keep on continuing on for each one. Now, a good idea is not only that, is we want to rename these live groups so they're something that makes sense. Let's go ahead and grab the last one here. And let's just rename these. So this is our key, our track, our backplate, and then our effects. So what I want to do now is go ahead and save the master script. So I'm just going to save it. And then if we go into our initial keying one now, so we open up the keying and the artist is going to begin to work on it. They have the live input node, and what they want to do now is go ahead and point to the master script. They want to reference it in. So they're going to reference in shot one master, and now they have access to the keying live group. So then that means they have all the information that they need in that live input node, and in this case it's going to be the plate. So the idea is now we can go in and begin to build out our key for this and any other tools. Maybe we have a custom keying tool already set up inside of here that's being plugged into the output. And then we'll begin to version up this comp. So we want a key V02, 03, etc. Now we're going to repeat that for each task. So the tracking, we're going to start building our track out of there, and then our master script will be able to expression link the camera data out of there if necessary, as well as for the backplate, getting it in 3D space, and then the effects. So the general workflow for this is that we were not packaging in this time the actual plates or the main assets inside of here. They're all going to be accessed through the live input nodes in these subscripts. So this way we're keeping all of this footage in here. If things get updated, we can let people know there's a new plate or the plate's been revised or whatever the case is. And then they can go back into those scripts, version up, and keep on continuing to work or tweaking to the new plate that's been chosen, or the different effects, or the different back plate, etc. So let's go ahead and build those out a bit, and then we'll begin to version up back in our main script. So back in the master script, the artists have been updating their subscripts, and we want to go ahead and start versioning up. Now for, maybe this artist, well, these two artists need access to the camera track. So once the camera track is done, they can be creating a live group inside of their script and calling in the camera track as it's beginning to work out, at least get things into position and start trying things out. And then they can version up as it gets refined. So back in our initial script, what we want to do is version things out. So just made merges between the different elements, and we want to begin to version up on it. So let's go to the key first. Let's go ahead. I'm just going to collapse these. And then I'll just alt up over the node here and go to version 2. Let's take a look. So this is our version 1, which we started off with our plate, version 2. And then let's go to version 3, where things get cleaned up even further. So we can begin to place things on here. Let's do the same thing with our back plate, going to version 2. So let's begin to have a look at that. And then even our effects, let's version up to the next level as well. And so what we're doing this time is we are keeping all of our actual footage inside of there, as we talked about before, and then we're versioning up so we can begin going in and getting our final grade and writing this out to disk. So a different approach rather than packing everything in with the same result using the master script and then calling things back in. So now let's take a look at another thing, and that is taking a look at the same situation, except we're going to be using live groups not the live input route. What we're going to use is live groups to actually package custom tools that we may have throughout the studio. So that means, like, let's take a look at it. For example, if we all have a keying sort of template that we work off of in the studio or at home or wherever you're working, then we're going to package those into live groups instead. So I'll load that up, and then I'm going to make it into a live group. So once we do that, I'm not going to go and clean up all the inputs, but we should be going in and naming them. But what we're going to do with this right away is publish this, and we'll publish this as the keying live group. So we'll just do keying. Okay, and already name that to key. And now that we've published this to disk, what we'll be doing is waiting for a return on it to update this to either reloading it or getting a new version. So what does this mean? It means that that artist is working on a fresh new script, and what they're doing is they have the plate that they know what they're working with. They're going to create a live group, and they're going to call in that keying live group that was created. So that means that they now have access to all the tools inside of it, our custom setup. But the difference is that they're going to be making this editable. They're going to be working with the tools inside of here, all the different nodes inside of here, to get their end result. And then they are going to version up and publish a new version of this. So that means in V2, we publish this to V2. Back in the master script, over time, we would want to be updating this to the second version, third version, etc. So a little bit different of a workflow in the sense that we're packaging custom tools inside of here. So the camera tracker would be a part of this one, which we're going to be making a live group from, etc., etc. So live groups that are not pointing to those blank scripts where we're going to be working on and then returning it, and the artist will be able to see it with the live input nodes. This time we're packaging studio tools inside of the live groups, but the key difference is that not only are we loading in the source footage inside of this script, we're also loading it inside of this. So a little bit different of a workflow, but definitely an alternative as well.